And welcome back everyone to more of Japanese Zelda Ocarina of Time. This part of the video recording is actually going to be done in post-commentary, mainly because there was just so much stuff that I had to go back and gather before I could continue moving on. I didn't have to do this, but I did state at the beginning of the Let's Play that I would be aiming to try to get mainly all of the items that are helpful to some extent, and all the heart pieces as well, which is exactly what this is going to be. So we couldn't get enough of the Great Fairy the first time with her leaf/nude outfit, like skin nude. I don't even know, like, really. You already heard what I said before about cosplayers I've seen. Even down at Otakon, I remember there was actually two of them that were there last year that I ran into, and it's like, really? Really? Okay. Fake leaves just do not go well on an outfit like that, to say the least. And I don't know what could possibly have compelled them to dress up like that. But anyway, yeah, as I was saying, it's kind of nice to just sit back and reflect on everything. There's going to be a lot of transitions, like this one, for example. Here, this is kind of just what I'm going to be doing throughout the first probably 10 minutes of the video before I actually get to the dungeon. It's up to you whether or not you want to go through all this, but there is story time. Maybe. I'll have to think of stuff as we go along here, and my thoughts on other games, what I've been playing lately, what I'm looking forward to for the Wii U and the 3DS, all that good stuff. I surprisingly did not do too bad at the Bombchu Bowling Alley. I did cut out, like, the future, or not really, I don't know how to describe this. Like, there was more than one attempt I did here. It wasn't because I was doing bad, though. It's because there's actually more than one prize you get here. And I especially hate it, by the way. Let me point out quick. Whenever you do the second bowling alley hole there, I hate it when the hole is on, like, the top of the ceiling, because it can change position between different games as far as where the hole gets placed at. If it's on the top, it seriously sucks, because it is so hard to get it at that spot, and then you have, like, a cuckoo and the spike trap getting in your way. And somehow I made it down the middle right there. I don't know how the heck that happened. But you get numerous rewards from doing this more than one time. The first time here, as you see, I have the upgrade for the bomb bag, which will definitely help because I'll be using a lot of bombs later. Not for bomb hovering, but for something similar. And yeah, I'm just cutting ahead to when I actually get the prizes. The only prize I didn't get because I didn't think it was worth it was bombs themselves. I don't know why they would do that as a prize. It really is kind of a slap in the face if the prize you get is just bombs. Like, seriously. You can find them in the field. Everything else is definitely worth it, but not just bombs. Sorry. I would like to play a minigame to get a better prize than that. Which I did. And here's a very commonly missed heart piece that I'm going to show here. Mainly because it's just a hidden grotto. Like, nothing would really compel someone to just, like, randomly go there and use a bomb. Unless you have the Stone of Agony and you have the Rumble Pack inserted. Which, on the 3DS version, they changed it to the Shard of Agony. Because, obviously, things have changed since then, and the 3DS does not have Rumble yet that I'm aware of. I know, like, the DS, there was a few games that came with, like, a Rumble Pack that you could use. I'm trying to remember if I still have a No, I don't have the Rumble Pack, actually. For the DS, anyway. It's kind of weird how that worked, though. I remember trying it, but I never, like, actually owned the component that you would put into the bottom of the DS. And it would only work on the original DS, like the Fat DS model, and the DS Lite. The DSi and the DSi XL removed the GBA slot, so you couldn't use the Rumble Pack on those DS games if that's what you had. And I had to make a, like, strange cut here. The reason it didn't give, like, the opening interlog, like, cutscene when I walked into Gerudo Valley is because I jumped off the waterfall twice and did not get this heart piece. it sucked. I felt bad that I wasn't able to show the cutscene, because it is a really nice dramatic cutscene as soon as you walk into Gerudo Valley, and it has an awesome song, by the way. Here I get a gold sculptula. Speaking of Gerudo Valley, by the way, it is possible to get into the fortress as a kid. If you do, though, it's actually completely empty. There's nobody there. Like, if you walk inside, you can just go through even like the insides of the fortress and there's nobody. Because obviously the developers don't expect you to get in there as Child Link, so I guess they just left out the script for any actors or things. Because they never thought, in normal circumstances, nobody's going to go in there. Because they have it gated off normally, but using a cuckoo, or cuckoo, however you like to call that bird, you can just narrowly get over the gate. And I'm sorry if you hear that noise in the background, but this happened last night, actually, though. Last night, the night before, when I'm recording this anyway, I was trying to record, and the first minute in, I just had to shut it off because I didn't realize at first that it was cleaning day, and my mother was actually using like a steam vac. It wasn't just for the carpet, though. She was using it for like scrubbing some of the curtains and the walls. And even though it was like one room over, it was still loud enough that the microphone was picking it up, and I just realized, that's not going to be good for commentary. So we're going to try again today. And I don't think there's any more cleaning that I'm aware of that has to be done, so... I thought I heard something, though. Like, it sounded like someone got the vacuum out or something, but maybe not. It's hard to tell. But if you heard anything, it was probably my mother cleaning. And here is probably not really necessary, but it's here, and I figured I'd show it off anyway. You talk to the first scrub. I couldn't remember which one it was, but it was the first one by luck. And they sell the upgrade for the Deku sticks, so that you can carry more. Or, I'm sorry, Deku nuts, not sticks. That's why it's really not that necessary, because... seriously, who uses Deku nuts? And I did get the other bomb bag upgrade. And that's the other thing, you don't have to do the upgrades in any particular order. You can do it whichever way you prefer. They just give you the prize that upgrades the capacity by 10. So it doesn't matter which order you get them in. And here I just decided, I think I got everything that I was aware of, so I decided to go ahead and go back to Zora's Fountain. And I did not get Ferori's Wind, so that's why I decided to go ahead and grab it quick. People like to look at it as a useless item, but in reality, if you look at what it can do, it actually is quite useful. It's something that's kind of forgotten, though, so I can kind of see like why it gets ignored a lot, because it's only usable in dungeons. Now in the 3DS version, you can use a glitch to use it outside of the dungeons and use them in like towns and fields, and it causes like funky camera angles to go on when it's supposed to be a certain perspective. But you can use it. I don't know what I did with the ocarina there. I was spazzing out there. But you can use this item like in one dungeon, and then you can go to another dungeon to use it if you need to like leave the dungeon and get something. So like I'm in Jabu-Jabu's Belly. If for some reason I had to like go back to Kokiri Forest or Goron City to get something that I might have missed, I could easily just like go into Dodongo's Cavern or inside the Deku Tree, use Ferori's Wind, and instantly warp back to Jabu-Jabu's Belly in the exact room that I had cast the spell at. It's actually quite useful. And even if you're like in the same dungeon, I actually am going to be demonstrating it for Jabu-Jabu's Belly here, which should be coming up. This is the last thing I do before I actually get to the dungeon. It actually saves time just like from getting one room to another if you have to do backtracking, and that's where the item's main use comes into play at. That's kind of like what the Uko, or whatever the bird's called in Twilight Princess, it has a similar function. It pretty much functions as the Ferrari's Wind of that game. But again, you know, it's not used a lot, but it definitely has usefulness. You just have to look into when it's necessary for backtracking and when it can help out. But here we are in Jabu-Jabu's Belly. I'm actually quite glad, like, when I get finished with all the, actually, at this point, I am done with all the, Child Link dungeons. I never really was a fan of the Child dungeons. I don't know, like, they're just so, like, not really empty, just kind of shallow. They're, like, not that challenging. And even as a kid, I mean, sure, yeah, I initially got stuck, even in Dodongo's Cavern, like, but that was because I had the logic of a 9-10-year-old brain at the time, and I just wasn't thinking through things, and we didn't have the existence of the internet back then either. Or rather, we did, it's just it wasn't well developed where everyone was posting, like, walkthroughs and videos on how to get through certain parts of a game if you ever got stuck on something, and you were a kid and you didn't know what to do. Now that I'm an adult, I can't say that I actually get stuck on too many games. There's a few exceptions, definitely, but I feel like now that I'm older, I do have a more logical processor in my brain to actually figure out how to get around puzzles now, and it, you know, it's good to have. And it's actually a lot of fun to discover the solutions on your own without any assistance, but then again, that beats the purpose of me making videos, doesn't it? Of course, I'm not the first person to make walkthroughs of this, and wow, that was so embarrassing. I actually got hit by a Shabomb. Shabomb. His bubbles have a very weird name. That's just like the most random name to give a bubble enemy. And it's not even really an enemy, it's just like a bubble. And they're, like, I don't know if you just caught that, but that noise that Ruto makes, like, when she bumps into a wall or an enemy, I think it happens when she hits a wall. After you throw her, she makes, like, this little giggle sound, like, I just find that amusing. I'll have to point it out when she does it again. I think she does it, like, 2 more times here up ahead. And I really don't know why I even bothered with these enemies. There was no point, really. Since I was going for the 50 gold Skulltula heart piece, I figured I'd just pick some up that were easily convenient whenever I saw them. That's why I was kind of going after, like, some of the ones here in this dungeon. Actually, that might be the only one I got, because I'm thinking about it. I don't remember if there's any other gold Skulltulas I get or not. And I try to get a fairy because I did not have a fairy in a bottle, and as soon as I let go of the bugs, of course, naturally, I run right into the fairy. Now, I'll be making, like, a cut here later on, because I will be doing a glitch here in this dungeon. But, I did catch a fairy, though, whenever I made the transition cut, because I came back to this room. I was getting low on hearts, and I did not want to die. There! I don't know if you caught it, but that noise that Ruto makes. I think she might do it one more time here. I'll have to see when I get to the door. There it is. That there's just something so amusing by that. I seen another, like, video of this game. I think it was it? I don't remember what I was gonna say there, but I did see, like, another video where another Let's Player was going through this dungeon, and they apparently never heard Ruto making that noise before. And it did bring up the question, like, did it really happen in the, is it just exclusive to the Japanese version, or did it exist in the US version? It does exist in the US version, though. And the noise sounded familiar. I thought it was, but I just have to go back and confirm. But, it is amusing, though, just that noise. That noise, I swear, that she makes. By the way, the best way to take out these berries and beeries, that's the name of these electrical jellyfish. I understand that they're supposed to be aquatic, but, like, why is there so much electricity in this dungeon? I don't get that. Even, like, the phlegm, or not the phlegm, but the like slimy things that block the doorways and the parastic tentacles. I don't understand why everything is like electric. The jellyfish I can understand because they do sting in real life, and that's what the berries are supposed to resemble, but everything else just doesn't make sense. Because this is supposed to be like a fish/water theme dungeon, I guess. I don't know. These things are annoying, though. They're vulnerable by their tails, or you could just squish them with Rudo. That works just as well. Now, I could have done the glitch that I'm about to show later on here as soon as I walked in the dungeon, but I needed the boomerang, and I wanted to make sure that I got it first before I completed it. So that's why I didn't like do it as soon as I stepped in the dungeon. I did practice it, and I had really weird results. I had a video showing like what happened when I tried to do a mega flip. But yeah, here I had to make a cut because I realized I did not use Ferrari's Wind in this room. And it will actually save time if you do that. So that's why I set a warp point here. And I always carry Rudo with me wherever I go. At least till I get the boomerang, because I want to make sure that like she doesn't like run off on her own, so that she doesn't teleport back to where I originally got her at. Because I don't know like where she'll disappear off to at certain points if you like abandon her and then come back out the room and you find that she's gone. So I do get paranoid about that. And for some reason these things, like if you throw Rudo at them, I should have brought Rudo into this room with me. But as I said, you know, I was getting the boomerang, so I don't actually need her at this point anymore. But if you throw Rudo on them when they're still like under the ground or the surface, they just like kind of vanish off on their own. I don't know if it like, I guess it kills them because they seem to just vanish. It's really weird how that works. But so yeah, I wanted to get the boomerang because I still need to get through like the Spirit Temple with Child Link later on, and I wanted to make sure I had the boomerang. Primarily why I continued on through so I could grab it. It is possible to complete the last room without the boomerang, because you'll see a puzzle later on where I have to use it. You can actually use bomb chews, and it'll work just as fine. I'll explain it once I get to it. Here I had to make a cut because it took me literally 20 minutes to finally get this thing working right, and then I discovered it's a lot easier if you do it on the elevator platform instead of like the ledge. Because if you see like to the left, that's where most people do it at. But what I just performed there was what's known as a mega flip. You're supposed to plant a bomb, you hold Z and use the shield, and then step back so that the grab command disappears. And here I do another glitch where I like managed to get to the door just in time before the netting went back up. I know that was pretty fast. 2 glitches at once there, and it's like, whoa, what are you doing? But the first glitch with the mega flip, do it on the elevator platform. It's a lot simpler, unless you're speedrunning. I guess that's why people do it like on the ledge instead of the elevator itself, because if they're good at mega flipping, they can do it a lot quicker by doing it on the ledge. But it's like pixel perfect, or polygon perfect, I should say, not really pixel. But it's so precise that I had so much difficulty with it, and I discovered, you know, to be able to demonstrate it, I just did it off the elevator to show that, you know, you can get over to the entrance here to Barnade's room without even confronting the big Octo, or Big Octorok, whatever the mini-boss is called. And you can also use Rudo to trigger the switch as well, which is the second glitch that I did. I had done a glitch there where I lined up with the door, like center, and then I turned around and hold Z. You're supposed to roll 2 times from the door, slash the sword, and after the animation of him slashing is complete, you want to do a jump slash, and you should land on the switch so that it'll turn you around so that you're facing the door. And then you just do a roll, and you gotta really tap the A button really fast. Or you could do like a frame pause, like where if you pause the screen and then unpause, you should be able to open the door fine by pushing A. and you'll get right through the door. You don't need a crate. Because normally you're supposed to defeat Big Octo. Lower the platform so that you can carry a crate across, and then enter Baranade's room. Speaking of Baronade, that's what I'm doing right now, actually. I am facing the boss itself. For some reason, you're not actually damaging Baronade by doing this, what I just did right there. You're actually getting rid of the jellyfish that were, like, guarding its body. It has 10 together. But for some reason, if you attack Baronade directly, it gets rid of the jellyfish one by one, instead of actually damaging Baronade itself. Now, I do use the crouch stab here. I should have done it with the Deku Stick Jump Slash. I could have done more damage quicker. But I wasn't thinking about that at the time, so oops. It is definitely easier, though, if you just defeat the Beery Jellyfish directly by using the boomerang. And I take a lot of damage from Baronade. I don't die, but I just... like that. I just keep running into it constantly, and it's like, oh my god. Like, seriously. There's something about this boss. I'm just, like, prone to getting hit by it. And, like, see it like that. I did a stupid mistake by, like, walking right into the path of the lightning it unleashes. Here we go again with the electric theme that I mentioned about. But yeah, for my crouch stab, I just did a regular jump slash, and then crouch stabbed the boss when it surfaced out of the ground. But it definitely would have been much faster if I used the Deku Stick Jump Slash to power up my crouch stab first. But alas, it works just as fine. And just like that, it gets acne, pimples, whatever you want to call it. It's kind of disgusting, actually. And I've seen people before who say that that death scene right there reminds them of Jet Force Gemini. With the Ent Blood, I believe it was. Because even though the blood on that game is actually... you can actually get an option to make it, like, rainbow-colored. The animation just kind of reminds them of that. And I can see why, like, as I look at it. There is something about that death animation, like, with all the splattering effects there, that does remind them of that game. I wish I owned that game, actually. Jet Force Gemini. I never did actually own it. One of my friends had it for the N64. I don't know if they still do or not. I'd kind of like to play that again, because it actually is a good game. It was made by Rare when they were still with Nintendo before they joined to Microsoft. The good old days, pretty much, as people like to refer to Rare as. Now they're known for making crappy Kinect games. The Kinect Sports, I think, is what they were. Yeah, because I really haven't heard too much of what Rare's really been doing lately. I mean, that's what I think is their most recent releases, is the Kinect Sports games, but seriously, Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie were way superior to Kinect Sports. And even some of the other things that they made. I think, like, the last game they actually made with Nintendo was Star Fox Adventures before they left to go with Microsoft. I almost said Conker's Bad Fur Day, but then I remembered that they were still around with the GameCube era for a while. Wasn't that long, though. But anyway, we got Zora's Sapphire, so we're pretty much good to go to continue on with the main story. Of course, you could always do the Door of Time skip, which later on in this recording, I will definitely at least show a few good, honest attempts at me trying to do that. But unfortunately, I was not successful. It is a very advanced trick. I don't understand, like, how it works. It's so, like, polygon perfect, because you have to, like, line up Link, put him in, like, a bird eye view so that you have to, like, match up the hilt of the sword, like, on the screen, because it shows the Kokiri sword, and you're supposed to, like, use the left part of the hilt of the sword to line up with the wall whenever you, like, back jump and side jump through the door. And then you're supposed to, like, do a really fast jump slash so that you don't fall into an abyss. It's really weird. but I could not get it to work at all on screen. Off screen, I did actually like get through, but then I fell into the abyss. So I was still like somewhat happy to have like partly get through the door, but it's still far from like actually doing the glitch itself. Obviously, it's something that they fix on newer releases. I don't remember if this is true or not, but I think on the VC version, I don't remember if the GameCube version fixed it or not, but I think the VC version of Ocarina of Time does fix the Door of Time skip. I could be mistaken by that, but I'm pretty sure that they fixed it. And 3DS version, obviously, they fix glitches, and more glitches still happen anyway. It's weird. Like, Grezzo really kind of... I talked about this before, but the company Grezzo, that's who, like, made the 3DS remake. Or, yeah, not really. I don't know if... How do you describe it? Is it not really a remake, just a... It kind of is a remake. It's just a graphical remake, I guess you could say. I don't know how... It just feels weird to call the 3DS version a remake, though, because remake kind of implies that you change, like, story plots and things, but still stay faithful to the original formula, if that makes sense. Or maybe even just start from scratch, depending on the case. I do kind of goof around here, by the way, because I was trying to get a couple more gold sculptulas, and for some reason, one doesn't come out of this patch of ground right here. I don't know why that is. Unless it's just a glitch that didn't work for me. I'm not that familiar with the gold sculptula locations, so I apologize if I don't really know anything about it. It's just I don't usually ever go for all gold sculptulas. The reward is not worth it. I know you can get that one out of the tree, but I don't know what's up with the one by the bean patch, like where the guy sells the magic beans. And I cut off screen to where I actually did purchase all 10 of them, because I did have to do a little bit of grinding to get the money to be able to afford them, because it starts at 10 rupees for the first bean, then it's 20 rupees for the next bean, then it's 30 rupees, and so on and so forth, to where the 10th bean you purchase from him costs 100 rupees. It's really stupid, and it's just an excuse for grinding rupees. But, I got all 10 because I was paranoid that I might need all of them. You actually don't. You don't have to get all 10. Because there's a few places where it's completely optional to even plant a bean at. But I got them because I wanted to make sure I had them when I was getting the heart pieces that required the magic beans. And I didn't want to be like short on beans when it comes to a point where it's like, oh yeah, here's a patch of grass, or a patch of soil, not grass, that I need to plant a bean at, and then it turns out, oh, I'm out of magic beans. So I just went ahead and got them like off screen so that you didn't have to sit through me of like grinding money to get these stupid things. Normal playthrough of this, I probably would just skip them altogether, because sometimes I don't even do like the trading side quest, and that's where their other use comes into play. It really helps out like time-wise if you're trying to get the big Goron sword. And there's a few sections like where you're timed to get from point A to point B before the item spoils or whatever. So that's definitely something you want to keep in mind, because there's a few places where when you're an adult, after the sprout grows up into the floating plant thingy, it'll actually save you a lot of time in certain parts of that event. But yeah, enough of that. We're gonna actually move on. There's a few more things I'll be doing yet, but I think it's about time for us to move on to the main cutscene where Zelda and Impa escape from Ganondorf, which is about to happen any second now.